Hi everyone, hope you're all well. In today's video we're going to talk about how to set up a website with a custom domain name and hosting, why it's important to have custom domain name and reliable hosting, and some popular domain registrars and hosting providers as well. So starting off with the custom domain name, first of all, what is a domain name? A domain name is the address that identifies a website on the internet, so it's the unique name that people use to find your website. For example, google.com or facebook.com. Domain names are used in URLs, which are the addresses that people type into the web browser to visit a particular website. Each domain name is registered to a specific individual or organization, and no two domain names can be the exact same. When you register a domain name, you pay a fee to a domain name registrar, who then receives the name for your exclusive use, or reserves the name for your exclusive use. Domain names can be made up of letters, numbers, and hyphens, and they usually end with a TLD, otherwise known as a top-level domain, and this is things like .com, .org, or .net. So why are domain names important for SEO? Domain names can have a huge effect on search engine optimization, and the domain name is one of the many factors that search engines consider when ranking websites in search results. Here are some ways in which domain names can affect SEO. One way is branding. So a strong domain name that is memorable, easy to spell, unique, can help with branding and recognition, and this can lead to increased traffic and repeat visitors, which can positively impact your SEO. Then there's keywords. So including relevant keywords in your domain name can help the SEO. For example, if you have a website that sells running shoes, having the keyword as running shoes in your domain name may help your site rank higher for related search terms. Then there's domain age. So the age of your domain can also have an impact on SEO. Older domains may be seen as more trustworthy and authoritative by search engines. Then there's domain extensions. So this is the top-level domain or the TLD that we talked about earlier. So you can choose to have an impact on SEO as well. So some TLDs like .com and .org are seen as more trustworthy than others. It's important to note that while domain names are a factor in SEO, they are just one of many factors that search engines consider when ranking websites. Other factors include the quality and relevance of your content, the number and quality of inbound links, and the user experience of your website as well. But domain names are another factor that will help rank for you in search engines as well. So as well as SEO, it's also really important for user experience. Domain names can have an impact on user experience in the following ways. The first way is memorability, and this is probably one of the most important ones, but a memorable domain name that's easy to remember and easy to type can improve overall user experience. Visitors are more likely to remember and return to a site with a catchy and memorable domain name. And then also trust. So the domain name can affect a user's perception of the site's trustworthiness. A professional looking domain that is relevant to the site's content can help establish that kind of trust with users. And then there's also clarity. So a domain name that clearly communicates the site's purpose or content can improve user experience. Visitors are more likely to stay on a site if they can quickly understand what it's about from the domain name. It also helps with relevance. So a domain name that accurately reflects the site's content can improve user experience. Visitors are more likely to find what they're looking for if the domain name matches their search intent. And lastly, it can help with consistency. So a domain name that is consistent with the branding and the messaging on the site can improve user experience. Consistency in branding and messaging helps users feel more familiar and comfortable with the site. So overall, a well-chosen domain name can contribute to a positive user experience, and by making it easier for users to remember and trust your site as well. So now that we've established the importance of custom domain names, we can now talk about where to buy custom domain names. So to purchase a custom domain name, you'll need to search for available domain names and then follow the registration process provided by the domain registrar. And you can typically purchase a domain name for a period of 1 to 10 years, and you'll need to renew it before it expires to continue using it as well. So as mentioned before, you purchase your domain name using a domain registrar, and a domain registrar is a company that manages the reservation of domain names on the internet. So they're responsible for processing domain name registrations, renewals, transfers, and for maintaining a database of registered domain names. When you register a domain name, you pay a fee to the domain registrar for the right to use that domain for a specified period of time. The registrar then reserves the domain name for your exclusive use and provides you with the necessary DNS, otherwise known as the domain name system. settings to connect your domain name to your website. In addition to domain registration, many domain registrars offer additional services like web hosting, email hosting, and website builders. And some domain registrars also offer domain management tools that allow you to easily manage your domain settings and track your domain's expiration date as well. It's important to choose a reputable domain registrar with good customer support and competitive pricing. There's loads of domain registrars to choose from, and each one has its own pricing features and limitations. So we'll go over some of the most popular ones today. So one of the more popular domain registrars out there is GoDaddy. GoDaddy is very popular and they have been around for a while, and they've also have a number of benefits that make them really popular with users for purchasing the domain names, as well as other things like hosting and additional services as well. So one of the things that's really popular with GoDaddy are their competitive pricing. GoDaddy offers competitive pricing for domain registration with .com domains starting at around $11.99 per year. They also offer discounts for multi-year registrations as well. Domain with GoDaddy as well, they offer really easy domain management. So it offers a really easy to use domain management dashboard that allows you to manage all of your domain settings, track expiration dates, and also set up domain forwarding and DNS settings as well. Some additional services that GoDaddy offers are things like web hosting, email hosting, website builders, and SSL certificates. So if you know when you are purchasing a domain name, those are other things that you might need. GoDaddy might be the best way forward because you can then use all of those services under one platform instead of having to go to different platforms for those different services. Another really helpful feature about GoDaddy is their help center and their customer support. So GoDaddy has a large customer support team that is available 24/7 via phone, email, and live chat. They also have a comprehensive online help center with articles and tutorials as well. GoDaddy is really well established and it's a really reputable company as well, with over 20 million customers worldwide, and they have been in business since 1997, and they're widely recognized as a leader in the domain registration industry as well. It's a very reliable and popular domain registrar with competitive pricing and a wide range of additional services. They're a good choice for individuals and businesses looking for a one-stop shop for their online presence. So to get started with buying a custom domain name with GoDaddy, what you want to do is go on to GoDaddy.com and you'll be seen with this kind of field here. And this is really easy. All you need to do is type in the domain that you actually want. And you'll type it in exactly how you want it with the spelling and also the TDL as well. And you want to just click on search domain. So at this point, GoDaddy will then search and look for whether or not this domain is taken or not. If the domain that you want is not taken, then you'll be able to add it to your cart and continue with the purchase. Sometimes you might find though, whenever you are searching for a domain, that a domain is taken. So this one, for example, is taken. In which case you have two options. GoDaddy will give you a great alternative instead. And this could be a different variation of the domain part itself or a different ending to it as well. So in this case, it's giving a different ending, which is free, free to buy. The other option then is to use their domain broker service. And the GoDaddy domain broker service is a service that connects buyers and sellers of domain names. So a domain broker is a professional who specializes in buying and selling domain names, and they act as an intermediary between the buyers and the sellers to negotiate the sale of domain names. So the way the GoDaddy's broker service works, it assigns a personal broker to each client who wants to buy or sell a domain name. The broker will handle negotiations, manage the transfer process, and ensure a safe and secure transaction. Some of the benefits of using a domain broker is that it can help you get a fair price for your domain name or find the perfect domain name for your business. Brokers have lots of experience in negotiating domain sales, which can help you get the best deal possible. There is a cost with GoDaddy's domain broker service, and it's based on the final sale price of the domain name. They will take a commission, and the rate varies depending on the value of the domain name and the complexity of the transaction as well. But as mentioned before, GoDaddy is a really reputable service, and their domain broker service is backed by a reputable and well-established company. And they have a team of experienced brokers as well who specialize in domain name sales. It's a good option for individuals and businesses looking to buy or sell their domain. Their experienced brokers can help you navigate the complex domain name market and ensure a safe and secure transaction. But it's also important to consider that there are commission fees involved, and you need to sort of make up whether or not that's worth paying whenever you are paying for your domain as well. But if you are able to find an alternative, or if the domain name that you typed is free to buy, then all you need to do is click on the Make It Yours button, and it'll add to your cart. And then you can buy more than one domain if you want to. So you can buy domains with different extensions. So right now we're purchasing the .co.uk, but then you can also go in and buy the available extensions as well, like the .org, .tech, .store, things like that. And then once you've added all of your domains into your cart, what you want to do is click on Continue to Cart. Once you've been taken to your cart, you then need to, it will then ask you if you want to buy any additional purchases. And one of the additional purchases that you can add is the domain protection. So GoDaddy domains include free privacy and protection to guard your personal info, but you can, and this will basically replace your personal info with proxy info in the Whois directory. It also means that you'll have less kind of spam and private email to deal with, basically. But you can add more protection on top of that. So you've got the ultimate domain protection. So you've got the full domain protection. So this will essentially prevent hackers from stealing your domain or making any unauthorized changes. And it also requires your approval via two-factor authentications for vital changes like deleting or transferring a domain. And then you can go one step further and you can get the ultimate domain protection. So this is everything that the full domain protection has, but it also allows you to hold your domain name for an extra 90 days if your credit or billing method expires. So it's a little bit more extra protection as well. So it's up to you if that kind of fits within your budget. When it comes to domain names, you want to make sure that you are using a service that allows you to kind of renew it on time and will allow you to renew it with as much protection as possible. So if you're able to get the full protection or the ultimate protection, then I would suggest getting it as well. You can also decide if you wanted to add a professional email, and you can see the pricing for it on the right side as well. And then you can, once you're done that, you can continue to cart. And at this point then you will need to decide how long you want to renew your domain for. So as mentioned before, you don't ever own a domain, you actually own the right to use a domain for a certain number of years, and how long you get to own the domain for is really just how long you've purchased it for. So you can decide if you want to do 1 year, 2 years, 3 years domain, however long you get offered. It just depends on the domain registrar. GoDaddy will let you buy a domain for 10 years, and obviously the longer that you purchase your domain for, the more expensive it is. However, they do offer discounts with the multi-year plans, so it's worth considering maybe having at least minimum 2 years just to get more savings as well. And then on top of that, then you can add email essentials. So if you wanted to add email hosting as well, you can do that as well. And then once you're done, you just want to click on I'm ready to pay, and then it'll walk you through the rest of the payment process. You'll need to create an account, and then afterwards you need to then just set up a payment method and pay for your domain. Overall, GoDaddy is really reliable. It's a really popular domain registrar with competitive pricing and a wide range of additional services. They are a good choice for individuals and businesses looking for a one-stop shop for their online presence. So definitely one that's recommended as well. So Namecheap is another popular domain registrar, and just like GoDaddy, they've been around for a while. They're really reliable, and they also offer some affordable domain registrars as well, domains as well. And they have a wide range of additional services, and they also have the competitive pricing as well. Some of the benefits of Namecheap is, again, their pricing. So their Namecheap offers really competitive pricing for domain registration, with .com sites starting at approximately $6 per year, and they also offer discounts for multi-year registrations as well. Similar to GoDaddy, they also offer a user-friendly domain management dashboard, and it allows you to manage your domain settings, track expiration dates, and set up domain forwarding and DNS settings as well. On top of that, they have lots of additional services like web hosting, email hosting, and website builders, and also SSL certificates. and they have really good customer support as well in their help center. So Namecheap has a large customer support team that is available 24/7 via live chat and email. They also have a comprehensive online help center with articles and tutorials as well. Similar to GoDaddy, Namecheap is a well-established and reputable company. They have over 1 million registered domains, and they have been in business since 2000, and they're widely recognized as reliable and affordable domain registrar. Overall, Namecheap is really reliable, and again, as mentioned before, they have really competitive pricing and they have a wide range of additional services. They are a good choice for individuals and businesses looking for an affordable and user-friendly domain registrar as well. So now that we have the basics of custom domain registration done, you also want to think about where to host your website and think about website hosting in general. When it comes to deciding where to host your website, you firstly want to think about what kind of hosting you actually want to use, as there's different types of hosting. There's shared hosting, VPS hosting, dedicated hosting, and cloud hosting. So shared hosting looks a little bit like this. Shared hosting is one of the most popular type of entry-level hosting that is used by beginners and often small businesses, small blogs, and things like that. Shared hosting works by multiple websites sharing space on one server, and your web hosting provider will then allocate resources to each website that is on its server. By having multiple sites on the same server, web hosting companies can provide the service at a much more affordable rate. This is by far the most economical option when it comes to web hosting. So, for example, in dedicated hosting, where you have your own web server, prices can start around $150 per month, and they can go even higher than that. Whereas with web hosting, with shared web hosting, you'll find in some of the examples I'm about to show you, but they can go as little as $3 per month all the way up to $10 per month. So when it comes to shared web hosting, it tends to be a good option for the smaller businesses, but also people who are just starting out, maybe have a smaller budget for hosting, and therefore shared hosting works for them. Some advantages of shared web hosting is that, is mentioned before. So first of all is the huge cost advantage, because the maintenance fees for the server is shared by thousands of websites. You'll see in some hosting providers, prices can start from as low as $3 all the way up to $10. Because there's lots of competition between different hosting providers to provide shared hosting, there's been lots of improvements to the technology. So lots of shared hosting providers will come with an easy-to-use admin panel like cPanel, hPanel, Fantastico, all of that for you to help you control the back end of your website exactly how you want it to. And most popular companies hire sort of skilled professionals as part of their support team. It means that you can then focus more on the business side of things and updating your website, but the actual website maintenance, uptimes, all of that is handled by your hosting provider. And a lot of hosting providers will offer multiple services. So as you grow, as your site will grow, you can upgrade without any kind of hassle. So you can upgrade sort of the allocated resource size and performance times, things like that. Just quickly, some disadvantages of shared WordPress hosting. Shared web hosting is, compared to dedicated servers, you'll notice a relatively slower server response time on shared web hosting servers. When companies are sharing your website, or when your website is being shared on the server, there are limitations to what you can upload onto the server, and how much resources that you have as well. So that's something just to watch out for. Saying that, there are lots of popular and reliable web hosting providers that provide really good quality sort of shared hosting plans that you can buy and kind of get started with. So one of them being Bluehost. So Bluehost is one of the biggest web hosts and oldest web hosts. They started around in 1996, and they've a really large brand name when it comes to hosting, especially WordPress hosting. With Bluehost, you never have to worry about your website being slow, even when there's a lot of traffic, because they have really good technology to kind of make sure that the site is being delivered at a good response time.
With Bluehost, if you wanted to see their hosting prices, just go on their website, and you want to go into hosting and websites drop down, and you want to click into shared hosting. And you can see when you scroll down, they have different hosting packages depending on what level of shared hosting that you need. And you can also decide if you want to have a 12-month billing cycle or a 36-month billing cycle. So when it comes to Bluehost's hosting, they have one of the more affordable prices compared to other shared hosting providers. So for example, their basic plan starts at £2.40 a month, and it goes all the way up to £11.33 a month. And with that, you get quite a lot of features as well. So starting off with the most basic plan, you get 10 GB SSD storage. So SSD storage is a lot faster than hard drive storage. So you get 10 GB of that, which is a really generous amount. You have access to kind of custom themes, and this will be good for when you're building your website. You don't have to, when you're just starting out, if you're not comfortable or you're not sure how, you can always use their free themes to kind of build your own site quickly and in a reliable way as well. They also offer 24/7 customer support, and Bluehost customer support are rated quite highly. Um, they offer a 24/7 support system where you can talk to their support team representative using live chat or phone support. This is really helpful when you need really quick help from technical support staff and you know that they're just one click away. So all of their support plans, or all of their hosting plans, come with the 24/7 customer support. Other really nice advantages that comes with the basic plan, at least, is that you get a free domain for 1 year. So if you haven't got a domain yet, you can buy it through Bluehost while you're buying a plan, and you get the first year free. So it's a really good kind of offer to take advantage of, especially if you haven't bought a domain yet. You also get free CDN and free SSL, so you know the CDN will kind of help you with the performance, so boost that performance time. The SSL will add that extra layer of security. So one thing to make note of is that with the basic plan, you only get this for one website per plan. So if you just have the one website, the one blog, the one portfolio website, whatever it is, then this plan will be fine for you because that only applies to, the one website. However, if you're planning to have multiple websites hosted by your plan, then you might want to think about going for one of the Plus, Choice Plus, or the Pro, as they all are unlimited websites for each of their plans. So just something to be aware of. In terms of the business basics, so it's good for if you have like a simple blog site that doesn't really require a lot of resources that needs to be allocated to that server. But they do offer different plans for different website needs as well. If you slow down, you can sort of scroll down, you can sort of compare all their plans and see exactly what you're getting. So the amount of bandwidth that you're getting with each of your plans, the free domain, any subdomains that you're allowed. So with the basic plan, they kind of allow you to host one website each, and you can host one domain, but you can host up to 25 subdomains. The SSD storage is a lot as well, and then I think you can also get some email accounts as well. And then when you select your plan, you would need to select if you want 12 months or 36 months as well. So you can see sort of the price differences between that as well. With the Plus plan includes includes unlimited websites with unlimited storage space, and they also have the unmetered bandwidth. You'll also get unlimited email accounts. And this starts at, so if you have the 12-month plan, this starts at £442 a month. And that's just obviously your introductory rate as well. With the Plus plans, it's good for the people kind of running multiple sites. You get the 20 GB SSD storage, so it's a lot more than the basic, and again, a really generous amount of storage to get with your website. Then with the Choice Plus, again, you get unlimited websites, and this time you get 40 GB storage, again, and a really generous amount for your website as well. Additional things that you get, so you get the free domain, free CDN, and free SSL, but you also get free domain privacy. And domain privacy just protects your personal information from the Whois database. So the Whois database will let people know who owns a certain domain, and it'll show their sort of your name and your address, things like that. And Bluehost will instead replace that information with their own general contact information. It just means you're protected from things like unwanted spam emails, and any kind of identity theft that might occur. And then you also get free automated backups for 1 year with the Choice Plus plan. That's one more thing you need to kind of be aware of if you are choosing a hosting provider, is to see if they are taking sort of backups of your site. You want to make sure that they're offering something like daily backups at least. So then if you ever did have to roll back to a working version of your website, you have a really early version as opposed to as early as a day ago as opposed to something as a week ago. Obviously the earlier, obviously the older your backup is, the more information you'll likely lose. So that's all of their plans that they have, and they have sort of staging sites as well, performance insights, as part of their Pro Tools as well. The Pro plan is the final plan. It's the most expensive plan, but it has all of the features. It starts from £11.33 a month as their introductory, and then renews at their normal rate of £23. It includes all of the features that we've seen so far and a dedicated IP as well. So if you're just starting your website, you can select any of these plans, and even if you were to just pick one of the lower plans, for example, the Plus, you can always upgrade your hosting plan as your website grows, so it's quite easy to do that as well. As I said before, Bluehost offer a 24/7 support system where you can talk to the support team representatives using live chat or phone support. And that's really helpful when you need a quick help from technical support staff and they're just like one click away. One thing that is missing from their customer support is the ticket-based support system. So a lot of hosting providers will give you access to their ticketing system where you can submit a ticket to their support team, explain everything that is happening with your website that you need help with, and then someone will get back to you in the form of a ticket. But they do offer their support. Their support anyway is 24/7. So you are able to reach someone at any point during the day if you ever need help. So that's still a big plus with their customer support. The other thing that Bluehost have is that they have a huge sort of library of articles, step-by-step guides, video tutorials as part of their kind of knowledge base. So if you go onto their website and you see this resources drop down, you can see they have a blog and they have a knowledge base, and it's filled with lots of articles and lots of information about hosting, specifically about WordPress as well. If you are running a WordPress website, this is their support resources, but then you can also go into their blog and read about maybe some of their new technology updates. How to do certain things like set up an online store, how to build your site, how to let your site grow, all of these things that you can learn about yourself and then add them and then implement them in your own website. So it's a really good tool to have as well if you're wanting to learn this stuff by yourself. It also means if there's any common issues that come up with your website, there's likely to be like an article or a blog about it, so you can sort of fix that yourself if you really wanted to. But you have the option of both. You can either sort of go through all of their blogs, or you can submit a ticket. They're both sort of all free to use. Some of the cons, though, of Bluehost, one of them is probably the higher renewal price for their plans. So if you go back to their plans here, you can see their starting price. So their introductory offer is pretty good. So it starts out, like their basic plan, for example, starts off at £2.40 a month, and that's their introductory, your first year. However, it then does auto renew at the regular rate. So the regular rate is, for example, the basic plan is £9. So there is quite a difference in the offered amount versus the regular rate. It's a lot higher than average. However, you do get that pricing for a month, and hopefully just when your website starts to grow a little bit, your budget for website hosting can increase as well. But you have this plan for about a month or about a year, and that way you kind of can gauge whether or not if this hosting provider is kind of worth the price that they are providing you their hosting for. Again, it is higher pricing, however, they are offering quite a lot with it, especially the free domain and the amount of storage that you get. It is a lot of offer. It is a good offer. Bluehost themselves are a really good hosting provider to go with if you're wanting to host your website with them. So definitely worth checking them out. It's also a really good beginner-friendly hosting company as well. If you genuinely have no kind of technical background, or you're wanting them to kind of handle most of the technical side themselves, then you kind of rest assured that you're putting your website in the hands of experts with that support sort of one click away as well. So it's kind of good so it is a good hosting provider. It just really just depends on your budget as well, and whether or not these features are something that you think you might need or not. If you're just starting out as a brand new website, blog, online store, then I think starting off with their basic plan is as a good idea, because you can always upgrade later. Another really good hosting provider for hosting your website is Hostinger. So Hostinger is becoming well known in the hosting industry, especially for WordPress hosting. They offer affordable hosting, 24/7 live chat support, and a really good platform to host your website. They have enhanced security, free CDN, manage automatic updates. And they also offer something called geolocation-specific hosting, which not a lot of other hosting companies offer. So they have a choice of 7 data centers across the USA, Europe, Asia, and South America. And you can sort of pick between these data centers to host your website, and this can greatly improve your website performance as well. So they offer a variety of shared hosting plans. If you go down to their website and look for web hosting, Hostinger's shared hosting plans comes in 3 different levels. They have it in single, premium, and business web hosting. So their single hosting plan they recommend for beginners. It's a single shared hosting plan. It includes one website, one email account, about 100 GB bandwidth and 50 GB SSD storage. And it's good for sites that have approximately up to 10,000 monthly visits. This plan doesn't include a free domain or unlimited bandwidth though, which is slightly different to what Bluehost is offering with all of their plans. So just to keep that in mind. All of their plans differ in sort of disk space, bandwidth, and the number of websites you can install. Another thing that they don't offer that Bluehost do offer is the free domain. So at least with their single web hosting plans, you don't get the free domain for the 1 year that Bluehost offers. You do get it with the premium web hosting and the business web hosting. But if you're just starting out with their single web hosting, you don't get that either. With the premium plan, it allows you to add up to 100 websites, 100 email accounts. You have 100 GB SSD storage, again, a really generous amount of storage, and it's good for websites that have visitors of up to approximately 25,000 monthly visits. It does have the free domain after the first year, and it also has free SSL, free email as well, and lots of other features as well, like the managed WordPress hosting and WordPress acceleration tools as well. So it's really good for general web hosting, but if you also have a WordPress website, they kind of do cater for those WordPress websites as well. Their business hosting is suitable for small business websites. This plan includes up to 100 websites, 200 GB SSD storage, and it's good for websites that have about 100,000 visits monthly. It includes the free domain. It includes free domain, SSL, and email, and lots of other common features. One thing that the business web hosting offers that's different to the single web hosting and the premium web hosting, is the daily backups. So with the single web hosting and the premium web hosting, they offer weekly backups. However, the business hosting will offer daily backups, and that's something you're definitely wanting to look for in a web hosting provider, is how often they're backing up your site. If for any reason you need to roll back to a previous version of your site, you want to have the latest version of your latest working version of your site as possible, because then you're losing the less amount of data if you ever need to. Obviously, if your backup you're rolling back to is from a week ago, you're losing a week's worth of data if there is any. So just to keep that in mind. So their business plan does have the daily backups as built into their plan as well. With all of their plans, they offer a 99.9% uptime guarantee. So they offer a really good service in that sense as well. They also have a 30-day money-back guarantee with all their plans as well, which is a really good feature to have. It means then if you want, you can test out one of their plans for a whole month, see how your website performance is, even test out their customer support. Are they offering good advice? Are they fixing any issues that you have? Is their support sort of quick and easy to kind of send in a ticket or talk to someone? So you can test out all of these things for a month, and if you're not happy with it, you can get a full refund. Or if you're happy with it, but you realize you actually need more space, or you need to upgrade, you can upgrade easily as well. So at least you can test it out for a good month before really committing to a hosting plan. So that's really good. They, with all of the plans, they have free SSL and Git access and the CDN as well. Plus, each plan gets you access to their custom hosting control panel. Their cPanel is alternative, they call it an H-panel, and has all the common features that you'll find within cPanel hosting providers. So for example, so it looks a little something like this. So this is essentially their version of the cPanel, and they call it H-panel. But you can see, you can control your kind of web server from here. They have automatic WordPress install, so you can install WordPress automatically on your site if you wanted to, just simply by clicking on the icons, and manage your WordPress hosting as well. And you can control you can have access to your database, your account details, all of that, with a really clean user interface. So it makes it easier to kind of navigate around the dashboard and do your own changes, whatever it is that you need to do. They offer a bunch of apps and advanced tools with their premium shared hosting. This includes PHP Manager, security features, drag and drop file manager, caching optimization. And again, they offer the 30-day money-back guarantee. This means that within the first 30 days after signing up, you can cancel your account for any reason and get a full refund of your hosting fees. This refund doesn't include domain registration fees. So if you did buy a domain when you first bought your hosting plan with them, you can keep your domain as well. So coming back to Hostinger's customer support and their customer service, they offer 24/7 support with all of their plans, and their customer support is via live chat. They currently don't offer phone support, and their technical team are really well trained and are available to help whenever you need it. Their customer support is 24/7, so you do have access to someone at any point during the day if you needed to. Their customer success team offers support in English to global customers, but if you purchase your hosting via one of their local websites, then you have the option to get support in that local language as well. Their customer support is really highly rated. Other people have found them to be very responsive with almost immediate response times. Other user reviews have reported a good customer experience when interacting with the support team. Apart from live chat, Hostinger has an extensive knowledge base as well. So similar to Bluehost, they have their own kind of knowledge base where you can go through their articles, step-by-step guides, video tutorials, on how to do things with your website hosting, how to solve website hosting issues as well. So it's just on their blog here. So you see their blog and talks about all of their new features as well. So you can go through those and implement those on your website. They also have their tutorials and knowledge base over here as well. So it's a really good way if you wanted to learn a little bit more about hosting. You can sort of go through all of their documentation here, and any issues that you have, you can probably find an answer here to solve it as well. So overall pros and cons of Hostinger. You can see all of their plans here. With their shared hosting plans, they offer some of the lower price plans. They offer very low cost hosting plans for people who maybe just want to test out an idea, or if they're just starting out building their website. So you can see that they have like a very low shared hosting plans as well. They have excellent performance considering their pricing. Their performance and speed is really great for that price point. As well, and the customer support is really good, even in the most basic plan that they have. One of their main cons, though, however, is they don't offer the daily backups. So with their single and their premium, they only offer weekly backups instead of daily, which can be a real problem. You can set up your own daily backups. So, for example, if you have a WordPress site, downloading a plugin like Updraft or All-in-One Migration, you can take backups of your site either manually, or you can set automatic backups as well using Updraft, and it just means then you always have a daily copy of your website regardless of whether it's done by your hosting provider or by yourself. It's definitely something you need to consider whenever you're first starting out hosting your website and just building your website in general. Compared to Bluehost, Hostinger's plan is again a lot more cost effective. However, again, you don't get the free domain with their basic plan. You do with Bluehost. Compared to their performance, the Bluehost performance times are a little bit faster. But again, you are paying more for that performance time. The performance that Hostinger have for the pricing that they're offer is still really good. And they do offer sort of the 100 GB bandwidth as well, and the 50 GB SSD storage. So Bluehost and Hostinger offer slightly different services. They are both great hosting service providers, but Hostinger is better for users, I think, looking for a cheaper website hosting with certain limitations. But Bluehost is better for users looking for lots of more features, but they have the budget to pay a little bit extra. So it really just depends on what you're looking for, what you actually need, and also your budget when you're deciding between the two. But performance-wise and support, they both rank really highly in both those areas. So either would be a great choice for your web hosting provider. And one thing to mention is Hostinger's servers are located in several areas, so this can help the performance as well. Hostinger is good for beginners who want to start a website without spending too much money. And they have low price shared hosting options offer really good value for money as well. Because they are a low cost sharing hosting service, they do need to put certain limits on accounts to ensure that they have a sustainable business. But once your site traffic hits the limit, you will be asked to upgrade to the next plan. But some really cool features that they have are like the automatic one-click WordPress install, free website migration, Lightspeed caching, Cloudflare CDN, and also their 24/7 support. Another really popular web hosting provider for shared hosting is HostGator. So HostGator hosts over 10 million domains, and it's one of the most popular web hosts in the industry. They offer lots of features that we've seen that are also being offered by Bluehost and Hostinger, and they are a really reliable web hosting provider as well. So HostGator's hosting plans and features can be found on their website under hosting, and you can see they offer sort of shared hosting here. And they have 3 different plans, Hatchling, Baby, and Business. They offer hosting for website builder and app platforms like Joomla and Magento. However, their main offering is shared WordPress hosting. And this is where lots of users kind of begin their journey as well. So if you are a website and you're wanting to host your website on a shared platform, specifically if you're a WordPress website and you're wanting to explore shared hosting a little bit, then HostGator might be a good fit for you in the beginning. HostGator's shared hosting plans come in 3 different levels. All their plans include unlimited storage and unlimited bandwidth under their sort of terms of use. And the main difference between the plans is the number of websites that you can host. And also some additional features that you can get as well. So for example, their hatchling plan allows you to only host one website. It includes one-click WordPress install. And it also comes with like a standard set of features. So they have email included for your website, unmetered bandwidth, free SSL, and free domain included as well. You will remember from Hostinger's plans, they don't offer the unmetered bandwidth, and they don't offer the free domain as well. So you do get that within their even the most basic plan with HostGator. And you're starting off at $275 a month, and that's their introductory offer. The next plan up then is Baby Plan, and it's the one that they recommend for a lot of their beginner businesses. So the Baby Plan allows you to host an unlimited number of domains and also subdomains, and it includes all of the features of the Hatchling plan, but you can also use add-ons like the private SSL as well, and and it starts off at $3.50 a month, and that's again their introductory offer. Then you have their business plan, and it's suitable for small businesses. This plan includes unlimited websites, unlimited email, dedicated IP, some SEO tools as well. They have a free domain, and it's suitable for the e-commerce website. So if you are an e-commerce website, this is probably the better plan for you. It has a little bit more features and has better sort of performance tools as well. Apart from shared hosting, they do offer the Gator Website Builder, which is a fully hosted website builder as well. If you look at their compare plans, you can see all of the features that they offer. And you can see they offer a 30-day money-back guarantee, so similar to Hostinger as well. You can test out one of the plans for a full month and see how you feel sort of about their plan, the performance of the website that you get whenever you're hosting with them. You can test out their customer service as well, and really kind of see what you're getting, what you're paying for. And if you don't like it, if you want your money back, you can do that sort of fully hassle-free within the first 30 days. Some other features that you get with HostGator that isn't offered with other shared hosting providers is the 500 Google Ad Spend Match Credit. So if you spend $500 worth of Google Ad spend, they will give you $500 credit as well, extra to spend as well. So it's really good if you know you are going to be spending a lot on Google Ads. You can get $500 back in Google Ads credit to spend freely on your website as well. It is important to know that you need to spend the full $500 first in order to get the matched $500 credit. And the same thing goes for the Microsoft advertising credit as well. You can get $100 worth of credit if you were to spend $100 within Microsoft advertising credit as well. And that's available in their baby plan and their business plan as well. In terms of their customer support, HostGator offer one of the best customer services in the industry. Customers can reach out to the support team via phone, live chat, support ticket, live chat support, or ticket-based email support. What their hosting support looks like, it's a lot more streamlined. And it looks something like this. So it's essentially a dashboard within your hosting, and you will find the support portal here in the left tab, and you can see you have the phone number if you wanted to call them. They have 24/7 support, toll-free and international, all over here. Then you have sort of the live chat where you can submit sort of like a ticket if you prefer that as well, but you will be speaking to an actual person in real time. What you can also do is search their own knowledge base, their own data library, and see if you can find any answers to common issues that does happen within hosting. So the portal kind of helps you find quick answers from the articles and video tutorials, or you can actually talk to a person as well. So they make it a really streamlined and easy process. A lot of reviews we've seen, most HostGator customers are satisfied with the quality of support that they receive. We have there's lots of reviews sort of on their site, and also within the website as well. Their customer support is kind of highly rated and really easy to get to as well within the dashboard as well. So HostGator offer a really variety of hosting plans that kind of fit all budgets and requirements. They offer kind of user-friendly tools to help you build your website. So it's really good for beginners. It is definitely a good hosting provider to go for if you are starting off. It's also really good for WordPress. So if you are a WordPress website or you're wanting to build your website in WordPress, HostGator is good for WordPress, and it's highly recommended for everyone who wants to start a WordPress site. They do offer one-click WordPress installation, which even lets you pick essential plugins and templates during the setup. And you get 24/7 tech support, which is very handy for beginners. Between HostGator and Bluehost, they are both highly recommended for hosting. They're very similar when it comes to the resources, disk space, and pricing. Bluehost user experience tend to be slightly better as they've invested heavily more in their WordPress platform. So if you are a WordPress website, then maybe Bluehost might be the way to go. But HostGator is slightly cheaper with their hosting plan. So again, it depends on your budget. And also how much you're willing to spend for the extra features that Bluehost offers, if you need them or not, and if you have the budget for them or not. But Hostinger, Bluehost, or HostGator, all of them are recommended shared hosting providers that offer really good kind of value for money. It really just depends on sort of your budget and what you're willing to pay for. So now that we've gone over shared hosting, the other type of hosting that you want to consider, that you might want to consider for your website, is cloud hosting. So the way cloud hosting works is cloud hosting will employ a virtual server to host your website. In comparison to traditional web hosting, they will usually house one or multiple sites on one physical server, whereas cloud server is essentially all online and cloud-based. Cloud hosting works through virtualization, which is a technology that kind of splits a physical server into multiple virtual machines, and they call those cloud servers. And together they kind of connect to create a single network for hosting a website. Whereas traditional hosting, everything would be on a physical server. Cloud hosting's infrastructure makes it different from traditional web hosting. The main benefits of using cloud hosting includes high availability. So if one server fails, there is other servers that will cover for it and keep the website running. This makes cloud hosting more reliable than traditional web hosting. As in traditional web hosting, the server has to be up at all times. If the server goes down, there's no other servers to kind of pick it up and host the website and keep it running. So cloud hosting is a little bit more reliable in that sense. Another really cool feature of cloud hosting is that they have traffic load balancing. So when the website experiences traffic hikes or dips, the infrastructure will spread it across multiple cloud server, and this will help maintain the site performance as it sees more visitors. So if there is a traffic spike, the infrastructure will pick that up and be able to allocate more resources itself to the cloud server to kind of help maintain the site as more visitors are now on it. This falls into scalability as well. So with cloud hosting, websites aren't limited to bandwidth, storage, or computing power available from a single server. They can use additional resources in the virtual environment to support the site's growth. As well as that, they have a good layer of security as well. So cloud hosting in general is less prone to physical malfunctions since it uses multiple servers in a virtual environment. And the load balancing feature can help prevent DDoS attacks. So in terms of cloud hosting, the usual types of websites that would use it are e-commerce websites, even like search engine websites, social networks, and basically websites that sees lots of high traffic projects. So it's good for websites that kind of need plenty of processing power, bandwidth, disk space to accommodate for lots of visitors coming onto the site and the high amount of files and data that they store. So the cloud hosting architecture makes it easy to anticipate traffic surges, which can happen, for example, if you're an e-commerce website and you have a sale on or a new product promotion on, then you can see your traffic goes spike up. So you want to make sure that the resources that you have can scale up themselves and be able to accommodate for that spike as well. The load balancing feature will ensure that the traffic doesn't overwhelm the resources of any virtual server. Furthermore, some of these websites may need sort of tighter security to handle sensitive information like customer information, payment information. So cloud hosting can help with that as well. So they're useful for medium-sized businesses, so not so much for people who are just starting out. Medium-sized businesses, e-commerce businesses, sites that will have lots of traffic, or maybe have dips and surges in traffic. So if it's not like a steady stream of traffic, you want to be able to have cloud hosting to kind of manage the dips and surges of traffic that can happen. So traditional shared hosting is not as powerful as cloud hosting, so you need to kind of make sure which type of hosting you're gonna go for. The pros of shared hosting, like the affordability, beginner friendly, and easy maintenance, kind of outweigh the cons. So the main cons of shared hosting is that there's not as enough reliability. So the website performance will depend on the traffic site, the traffic, the site size, and security measures. And then it also lacks scalability. So with shared hosting, you only are allowed to use the allocated amount of processing power. So this is where cloud hosting comes in. If you need more processing power than what's been allocated to you, cloud hosting can scale up for you, and this is something that shared hosting doesn't have. So when you're deciding between if you need cloud hosting or shared hosting, then the main thing you want to think about is the amount of traffic you're going to have on your site. Is it going to be a steady stream of traffic? Are there going to be dips? Or are there going to be hikes every now and again? In which case, cloud hosting would be better. VPS is another type of hosting. And it's a lot more similar to cloud hosting than shared hosting would be. So VPS will also use virtual private servers as well, but it's different because it uses virtualization. So the same technology powering cloud hosting to create separate server partitions. That way, every user gets a dedicated resources pool to support their website. So VPS is often considered the next step once a website has outgrown its shared hosting plan. It's more planned. Then the next step would be VPS hosting or even cloud hosting. It's more comparable to cloud hosting in terms of performance. But other than that, users will get full root access to their own server, and that's where it's a little bit different to cloud hosting. So it enables them to configure the hosting environment to their exact needs, and that's not available with managed cloud hosting or even shared hosting. So depending on your own technical background, VPS might be a better option for you than cloud hosting. But cloud hosting then is seen as the next step from shared hosting once your site has outgrown the limited amount of bandwidth that it's been offered. So now that you know all about cloud hosting, you're considering it for your website hosting. Here are some reliable web hosting providers that also offer cloud hosting. So we went over Hostinger before for their shared hosting, but they also have a cloud hosting plan. Hostinger use sort of latest technology to ensure the best performance, such as Cloud Linux and LV containers to kind of isolate resources for each hosting account. So to view their plans, you just want to go into their website, go on hosting, and you want to click on cloud hosting, and you can see it's for the larger scale projects, and they start off at $8.99 a month and they go all the way up to £50 a month. So cloud hosting is comparing it to shared hosting is a little bit more expensive, but at this point your website hopefully will have grown and your budget for the for hosting will have increased. So to kind of cover the performance that you need for your web hosting site. So their $8.99 plan is the most basic plan, but right now they do have an offer for the first 3 months free. After that, it renews at $12.99 a month. So what you get with the basic plan is the amount of sites. So you get up to 300 sites. Storage and the performance as well all differ within all of the plans. The main things that are different are the amount of storage that you get and also the performance. So obviously the more expensive your plan is, the more performance allocated resources that you get, but you still get a good amount with their most basic plan. With all of their plans, you get daily backups, you get free domain, you get free migration, and you get their use of their website builder as well. So they have like different offers that way, and lots of different features as well. Their most expensive plan, the Cloud Enterprise, obviously you get more storage, and you get way more sort of performance. So you get 6 CPU cores and 12 GB RAM. So depending on how big your website is and how much traffic you have, it really just depends on that to see what kind of plan that you want. As always with all of their plan, if this is the first time you're buying from them, they do have the 30 days money back guarantee. So you can start off with just a basic plan, see how the performance is, how your site fares compared to that. And then if you're happy with it, obviously you can keep it. You can upgrade if you feel like you need more, or you can just fully request a refund for your site and within the first 30 days, and you can get your money back as well. Similar to the shared hosting, they do offer the 24/7 customer support as well, and you can contact them at any time. All of their features are the same with their shared hosting. It's really just the performance you want to look at. So now that we've talked about cloud hosting and shared hosting and when to use either, the next type of hosting to look at is VPS hosting. So VPS hosting is an abbreviation of virtual private server hosting, and VPS hosting plans offer virtual machines to help your website. The concept of virtualization is similar to shared hosting, where there's one server computer that can have multiple sites running on it. However, virtualization technology allows each account to be treated on its own machine with its own dedicated resources operating system. So each computer has its own resources, has its own kind of server. So for example, in the shared hosting environment, all clients are sharing the resources of the same computer. Most shared hosting service providers have scripts that limit the resources of each client so that no client is using up all the resources. However, clients aren't guaranteed the computing resources, which may fluctuate from time to time depending on how many clients are using the resources at the time. But on the other hand, on VPS hosting, the plans can guarantee the resources available to the client by virtualization technology. This provides the client with a much more stable hosting environment with little to almost no fluctuation in the resources available. In terms of VPS hosting, InMotion Hosting, HostGator are some of the most recommended VPS hosting providers, but they have lots of other web hosting providers as well that provide VPS hosting. So one really popular hosting provider for VPS hosting is Hostinger. So Hostinger use Linux VPS hosting, and they have private hosting services as well to get all of the power that your web hosting provider or that your website needs. So their VPS plans come in 8 different plans. and you can sort of see on the website exactly what you're getting with all of these plans. But essentially, you can pick from one of these plans as well, depending on, and they differ in sort of like the RAM space, disk space, as well, but they all kind of come with the same kind of weekly backup. They all have a dedicated IP, and they allow you to have complete control as well and root access to your website. In terms of pricing, the most popular plan is the plan that's $4.99 a month. And you get 2 GB RAM, 40 GB SSD, and 2 terabyte bandwidth, which is a really good kind of amount of bandwidth to get. You can see with all their plans as well, you can see the payment terms and how that works, but you can essentially go to their plan features and see what you're getting. Again, all of the main differences between all of them is the performance. So you want to make sure that you're getting a plan that suits your performance needs for your website, as well as that falls within the budget that you want. So they have about 8 different plans that you can pick from, ranging between £3 to £60. So there's a great kind of range to kind of go for, and even the most cheapest plan does have a lot of resources that can be allocated to your website. So it is a good hosting provider to go for. As well as that, they have lots of tutorials as well, and lots of sort of FAQs on their main questions as well. And just like with all their other plans, they offer a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you're not 100% satisfied with Hostinger, they'll refund your payment, no hassle, no risk, within the first 30 days as well. So as long as you are getting in there within the first 30 days, you should be able to essentially pick a plan that you want and then to really test it out as well. So some of the disadvantages of VPS hosting is the cost. VPS hosting is a lot more expensive than shared hosting, and a lot of their plans can get a bit expensive. Hostinger is not so bad, with their first plan starting off at $349. However, the more disk space that you need, the more bandwidth, the more resources that you need, the price does increase, and it can go all the way up to £60 a month. Again, that's a big step up from shared hosting prices. However, your site would have been at that point where it's grown, so hopefully the budget for your web hosting will have increased as well, so that kind of helps as well. Another disadvantage of VPS hosting is the technical skill that would be needed. So managing your own server, even a virtual one, will require a lot more technical experience than shared hosting. If you're someone who would prefer to have the technical side of hosting, things like software updates, security, maintenance, if you would rather have that all handled by your hosting provider, then VPS hosting might not be the one for you, as those are the types of things that you're going to be responsible for. However, if you are someone that has that technical experience and you like having that much control over the back end of your website, then VPS hosting might be one for you. It's similar to cloud hosting, except cloud hosting a lot more is managed. A lot of the technical side is managed for you. So in that sense, you can decide if you want sort of VPS hosting or cloud hosting. In terms of when you need VPS hosting, if you're a beginner and you're just starting a WordPress blog or WordPress portfolio site, or simple kind of brochure site, then VPS hosting won't be needed. A shared hosting plan will provide all the necessary resources that you need when you're just getting started. As we mentioned before, shared hosting plans are a lot more budget friendly. They're a lot more economical, and they don't require a lot of technical skills to get started. It's just once your website starts growing, then you need to think about upgrading your hosting, whether that's upgrading the amount of resources within your shared hosting or upgrading to a different type of hosting altogether, whether that's cloud hosting, VPS hosting, and things like that. Some signs that you've outgrown your shared hosting would be if your website starts to get a lot slower. If you've done all you can to speed up your site and it's still slow, then it might be time to consider upgrading your hosting. This is true. This is something to look out for if your website is slowing down during peak traffic times. So if you notice a dip in performance then you know that you don't have enough resources to handle the amount of traffic that is currently coming onto your site. If your site keeps going down, if there's a lot of downtime on your site, or you keep getting a lot of internal server errors, those are known as 500 server errors. If troubleshooting doesn't solve the common WordPress errors, then it may be your web hosting. Another sign that you've outgrown your hosting is any security issues. As your website grows in popularity, it becomes a more popular target for hackers as well. If your website keeps coming under attack or getting hacked, upgrade your hosting can help keep it more secure. VPS hosting might be the right choice to make if you are more technically inclined. If you're a more technically inclined user, you don't mind managing your own server, and you want more freedom and flexibility to install your own software and configure your own settings. Then VPS might be better for you. Cloud hosting, or even manage, for example, if you're a WordPress website, even manage WordPress hosting, that might be better for you if you don't have time or you don't want to be managing the technical side of your website. You just want to manage, your store, you want to manage your blog, you don't want to handle the technical side of things, then manage WordPress hosting, cloud hosting, any type of hosting provider that has a really good customer support and has customer support included in their plan, 24/7 customer support, would be better for you in that sense. Now we've covered the first three basic web hosting types. We had shared hosting, VPS hosting, and cloud hosting. The last type of hosting left to cover is dedicated hosting. So dedicated hosting is used to describe web hosting packages that provide you with a dedicated server with dedicated resources to your single website alone. Dedicated hosting plans are ideal for websites, even WordPress websites, with a very, very, very large number of visitors. A lot of WordPress hosting service providers offer dedicated hosting plans along with their shared and VPS hosting plans. So for example, in a shared hosting plan, a client is sharing a computer with many other clients. In the case of a VPS hosting plan, the clients are sharing a machine, but not the resources with other clients on the same computer. However, on a dedicated hosting plan, a client leases an entire server and all of its resources for them to use alone. Web hosting companies offer different packages of dedicated hosting plans, and prices of them are based on the client's choice of hardware and resource allocations and things like that. Dedicated hosting plans are ideal for large organizations or websites that have a much higher traffic. The client gets full control over the server, which allows them to configure it to meet their own needs. The dedicated plan also comes in managed and unmanaged forms, where the hosting center can manage the server for the client in case of any problems. Dedicated managed servers are generally much more expensive. The pricing is also influenced by the amount of resources needed with like bandwidth, storage space, and the amount of RAM. Amongst lots of other things. Additional expenses for dedicated servers also include the software packages needed to run the server. Softwares like licensing for Windows, cPanel, other paid software, things like that. Free alternatives to most of the paid software packages are available, but they're not generally preferred due to issues with sort of stability of the software itself. The main exceptions to the preference for paid versus free software is the widespread use of Linux over Microsoft or other paid OS on servers. To give you an idea on pricing, so this is Ionis, which are a really good web hosting provider, especially for a dedicated server as well. So they offer different kind of server options depending on what kind of servers that you're buying, either storage servers, Intel servers, or AMD servers. And their pricing can start from £55 a month. So depending on what server that you're going to go for, if you, for example, see AMD servers, you can see their setup is per minute billing. So you essentially will use your server by the minute. So if you configure whichever one that you want, and configure all of the times that you need, you essentially build out your plan however you need to, whether that whichever system it is that you're using, your data location center, and with the backup and recovery, and you can see sort of exactly how much plan each of the server is going to take. So you got about 120 there as well. So it is a lot more expensive than any other hosting. So it is mainly for websites that have the need for more resources, for more performance things as well. So with dedicated server hosting, you get the additional storage space and bandwidth. You can have more storage space and increased bandwidth when you have that server that is specifically tailored to your requirements, and it just means you can enjoy a fully customized server and its features. Increased bandwidth would also mean increased speed, resulting in a much more better user experience. And when you're using dedicated hosting, because no one else is using the same server as you don't have to worry about problems like dips in performance when other people are using your server as well. And a really good advantage of dedicated hosting is that you get scalable, adaptable, and flexible service. So you can change the server startup and add new applications and modify resources to kind of meet your exact requirements. With dedicated hosting, you can use the entire server as well, and it allows you to add features and functionalities that are developed and expanded as needed. As a result, you have a complete control over the server that you have, including the software that you use, its scalability, and allowing you to make necessary changes whenever you need. The cons being, as you've seen, it's one of the more expensive types of hosting, especially compared to something like shared hosting. Choosing a dedicated server is not needed if you don't have that much traffic. You can go with shared hosting, or or you can have cloud hosting if you have low traffic on your website. And dedicated hosting options is better for if you have a larger amount of traffic on your website. The other con that might be seen as a con is the technical knowledge required to maintain your own server. So you need to make sure that you have the knowledge that is required to install, configure, and maintain your server using dedicated hosting. As you've seen in shared hosting and cloud hosting, they're all managed for you by the hosting provider's dedicated support team. The hosting company will handle it. However, in fully managed dedicated hosting, you don't get that. There are some hosting providers that will offer support. However, it's a lot more expensive. You will either need to be able to do it yourself. It might be another thing that you might need to hire someone else for. But the technical knowledge and all of that needed to maintain this is fully up to you. And that can be difficult. Regular server maintenance is required, and daily monitoring is required to ensure that you can depend on your server. And that can be difficult if you don't have the technical knowledge as well. So just some pros and cons there. Overall, there's loads of hosting providers that provide different types of hosting. The first thing you want to do is decide what kind of hosting you want. If you're really just starting out, you don't have a lot of traffic on your website, shared hosting is the way to go. And as your site grows, maybe moving on to something like cloud hosting and VPS hosting, depending on your budget, but also your own technical knowledge. If you're not too comfortable yet with managing your site yourself, cloud hosting might be better, whereas VPS hosting can give you that full root access and give you a bit more control. And then finally, if you have lots of traffic on your website and you want to manage your own server, then dedicated hosting is the way to go. But yeah, you need to kind of consider your actual website needs. Then you can consider what type of hosting you actually need to get, and then from there decide which hosting provider to go for, and that just falls on their and they're all very similar, as you've seen. So you want to look at budget and also their own customer support as well, and kind of make your decision from there.